No one boards a plane expecting to die. On the afternoon of 12th of June 2025, a tragedy has struck the entire nation. A Boeing aircraft, a Air India 171, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, plummeted from the skies just 30 seconds after its takeoff from the land. After taking off from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad, the flight plummeted from the sky just 30 seconds after its takeoff, and more than 240 people are expected to be dead in this particular tragic incident.
London-bound Air India Boeing Dreamliner crashed minutes after taking off from Ahmedabad's International Airport.
Passenger jet has crashed in the western city of Ahmedabad.
One of the world's worst aviation disasters in a decade.
Only one individual miraculously survived out of that incident. And ex-Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Rupani ji, was also in this particular flight, along with the numerous of innocents' life, which were lost just in a matter of few seconds. The human cost of this particular tragic incident is infinite. While the airplane took off, at the altitude of around 800 feet, it lost its altitude and plummeted towards the ground. The pilot is known to have issued a Mayday call, but then the contact was lost. Now the plane hit a doctor's hostel at BJ Medical College, bursting into flames. So what you could just see is thick black smoke. And around 5 students from the college are reported dead. Now the numbers might be even more. Official confirmation is yet to come. Now this particular tragic incident has shook the entire nation to its core, and it has made us question that is civil aviation in the country or in the world even a safe option to travel or not. It has made us question the aircrafts, the manufacturing of the aircraft, the integrity of the manufacturers, and the processes and the overall civil aviation safety in our country. It has made us question to the core. Now in this hour of grief, we offer our condolences to the family of the deceased, and we definitely hope that such kind of tragic incident doesn't take place in future. Now, in context of this particular issue, the civil aviation sector of India in general, the civil aviation safety issues in our country, the hazards in our country. Alongside this, what are the solutions, what are the remedies which are proposed, and what can be done in future to make civil aviation sector a safer sector, a safer way or mode of travel in the country, what can be done in future. All these things we'll be trying to understand in this particular session. Hello, my name is Preetpal Singh and you're watching Perspective. Now it is just few years back only when one very famous YouTuber, Govt, also highlighted several safety issues with one of the airlines where he was flying as a pilot. Now other than that, numerous times on YouTube, on different social media handles, several pilots have definitely made certain accusations against different companies, whether it be Air India, whether it be Indigo, whether it be Akasa Airlines or different other airlines, for not following proper guidelines, not following proper safety protocols while flying the passengers from one place to another.
777 line are you think are not?
Well, they are doing stuff that increases the risk factors. You know, you said it's not a safety issue, it becomes a safety issue.
Now this flight, which was London bound, this Air India flight which just got crashed, a London bound flight where individuals were traveling to go and meet their families, and to be specific, around 169 Indian nationals, 53 Britishers, 7 Portuguese people and 1 Canadian was flying in this particular flight, and only 1 individual survived after the crash. Now while issues in relation to flight crashes in the country and in the world are not new, but since 1985, this is one of the biggest civil aviation disaster taking place in our country, that is India. So it is one of the biggest disasters in the last 4 decades which have taken place in our country. And it is the most deadliest of all, which has taken the lives of 240 plus people. And many people are terming it as a flight which never really took off. Now, if you have to understand the civil aviation sector of India in general, you have to see one thing. India is the 3rd largest civil aviation market globally, and it is projected to become the 2nd largest market by the year 2030. Also, if we see that in the year financial year 2023-2024, around 340 million plus passengers were handled by India, domestic and international passengers, more than 340 million plus passengers India handled. And other than that, India is having a fleet of more than 700 aircrafts, and it is expected to be growing towards 1200 to 1300 aircrafts by the year 2030. And there is one regulatory authority, that is Director General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, in our country, which is the regulatory authority for civil aviation in the country. Other than that, there are around 148 plus operational airports in the country. It is expected to grow around 220 airports by this year, that is 2025. And by the Airport Authority of India's plan of 2047, airports in India are expected to grow till 300 by the year 2047, which means that civil aviation market, the civil aviation infrastructure in India is massive and it's humongous. Now, this sector provides approximately 4 million direct jobs to individuals in our country, which means the magnitude of this sector spanning employment in the country is also huge. Now here, one important thing which we have to discuss is about civil aviation safety in our country. Now, if we see the list of accidents, crashes which has taken place in India in the last 4 decades, we could find numerous instances of plane crashes, of engine malfunction or pilot fatigue, a lot of different things we can see happening in the country in relation to the plane crashes. And answering this question of yours, is flying safe in this world or not? The answer to this is a simple yes. See, if we compare airlines, that is air transport, with different other ways and means of transport like roadways, like railways, like waterways, or different other means of transport, air transport is one of the safest in the entire world. Now, with this catastrophic event taking place as well, the year of 2023-2024 was considered one of the safest year to fly globally. So if I have to substantiate this point with the help of certain data, I'll tell you that in the year 2024 alone, in the world, there were around 40.6 million commercial flights which flew in a single year. Now, out of that, only 7 fatal accidents were reported. So out of 40.6 million flights which were globally flown in the year 2024, only 7 fatal incidents are reported, which claimed in actuality around 244 lives globally. Now, that's one fatal accident per 5.8 million flights. So in 5.8 million flights, one accident you could see, one fatal accident you can see. So the all accident rate of the whole world in the year 2024 was around 1.13 per million flight. So per million flight, 1.13 was the fatality rate or was the all accident rate. And the accident rate would be 1 per 8,80,000 flights. Now, for a context, this number was much more. That is 1 out of every 4,50,000 flights was the accident rate 10 years back. So a decade back, out of every 4,50,000 flight, 1 flight used to crash, or there was 1 flight who meets an accident. But today, out of 8,80,000 flights, 1 flight meets an accident. So which means that in the last 1 decade, air transport safety in the world has definitely improved a lot. So to answer this question, that is flying safe in today's world, yes, it is definitely safe. And if you compare it to roadways, it is much more safer, because in India, road accidents, it claims more than 20,000 lives per year. But that is not the case with the flying. And there is a quote in relation to this as well, which goes like this, that there is higher risk of a person dying from a road crash while traveling to airport than in the flight. So that is enough to make you understand that flying in India and flying globally is still a very safer option as compared to the other incidents. Then the question is why these kind of crashes take place. See, the problem with these crashes is that if in 1 year there are 5 to 6 crashes, which claims 200 to 300 lives each per crash, the magnitude of the crash is such huge that we feel the intensity at one particular incident. Intensity of the crash is very huge, and the intensity of the human life lost becomes infinite, which is why we usually feel the narrative usually goes around this, that the flights are usually not safe, but the reality is opposite. If statistically we see that traveling on a flight is much safer as compared to traveling on a train, traveling on a road, traveling on roads, traveling on train, or traveling in waterways as well. And if we calculate per passenger fatality in aircrafts, it is very minuscule. It is 0.00 something, right? So per person fatality, the chance of meeting a fatal accident for a person in a flight is very, very less. And in India, in the last 1 decade, DGCA has reported, the Director General of Civil Aviation has reported that there has been a 23 to 25% drop in unstable approaches and a 25% drop in near miss incidents in the year 2023. And India's aviation regulator has even retained a FAA Category 1 status in the year 2023, meaning that the US FAA found India's oversight is meeting the international standards, which is also good. So in summary, we can simply say that flying seems safer than the other options, but still it is not a zero risk. And there can be instances like this which can take the life of 240, 250, 300 people within a span of few seconds, within a span of few minutes. And this is where the question arises that why such type of crashes take place. Now for this, we have to take an example of this Air India 171, which crashed on June of 12, 2025. Now if we take this example, the cause is yet unknown because the teams of UK, US and India, they are yet identifying the cause, and a targeted expert panel has been formed to look into what was the major cause or what was the main cause for this particular accident. But the preliminary reports from a lot of other news channels like NDTV or Indian Express reports, they highlight that it might be due to a bird strike. So the witnesses report that the takeoff seemed very normal, but after that there was a sudden descent. Now the NDTV report has suggested that there might be a possible bird strike on the engines, because of which engines might have malfunctioned and preventing the plane from gaining any speed or lift. So while the plane was lifting off, that was the time when the plane lost momentum and again drifted back. So that might be one of the potential reasons. And some other people, they are highlighting mechanical issues, which are very common with the Boeing aircrafts. So the safety audit of the Boeing aircrafts is also in question. And manufacturing issues, some experts are pointing out. Some experts are pointing out mechanical issues that while it was taking off, the machines were shut, the engine went off and engine did not work. So engine malfunction, many people are targeting that as well. And one factual thing which we see, and the video is doing the rounds on the internet as well, we can see that the cockpit video shows that while the takeoff is happening and while the 787 Dreamliner is lifting off, its gear is still down, which means the gear has not gone up and then it starts descending. So which means experts say that due to multiple bird strikes or bird hit, there can be a dual engine loss, because of which the machine stopped working. And as you know, that airplanes, they are very complex machines. They're not very simple machines. A lot of manpower, a lot of technology, a lot of machines, a lot of small different type of parts go on for manufacturing of an aircraft, which is why India today does not manufacture any commercial flights, commercial aircrafts. It is just two companies, Boeing and Airbus, which are the aircrafts manufacturer, the most dominant aircraft manufacturer in the world. And this was a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Now, but one thing is clear, that all these reports, they are preliminary reports. The more authenticated, detailed report would be released by DGCA in the meantime, in the next few days, after the investigation is completed, after the real cause of this particular accident is known. So for this particular accident, this could be a potential reason, right? A bird hit or engine malfunctioning or technical error or mechanical error might be one of the reasons. But if we have to look at the civil aviation sector overall, then we have to take into perspective different other major reasons due to which different accidents have taken place in the last few decades. See, the major safety concerns for the aviation sector in the world, they can be highlighted into different themes. One theme can be in relation to the runway safety issues. So according to the International Air Transport Association report of 2023, it highlights that more than 50% of the aircraft accidents, they take place either during a takeoff or during landing. And this can be due to runway safety issues because the safety audits not being done properly, and the recent 2024 Goa Air India taxiway error, it highlights runway confusion as well. Now in 2020, the Kozhikode crash or Mangaluru 2010 crash were also due to runway overruns, causing more than 170 plus fatalities in India. So this can be one of the major issues, that is runway safety issues. Now other than that, the second issue can be due to a bird strike, which is very common for the aircrafts. Now engine ingestion or windshield strikes, it can lead to many times a structural damage on an aircraft or engine failure in an aircraft, because at such a huge altitude, at such a great speed, if a bird strikes an aircraft, it definitely puts a dent on the aircraft. It might lead to a very heavy structural damage, because of which there might be landing issues for the aircraft as well while the aircraft is flying. Now the 2024 South Korea aircraft crash, where more than 179 lives were lost, it is said that it was due to a bird strike. Now the famous US Airways flight 1549 in 2009, it landed in the Hudson River after the both engines, they failed due to a bird strike. So bird strike is again a very common reason for aircraft failure or aircraft accidents. So one is runway issues, second is the bird strike, third can be a human factor or fatigue element as well. So in the 2010 Mangalore aircraft crash as well, where again hundreds of people lost their lives, in that as well, informally, one reason which was quoted was pilots' fatigue and fatigue of the crew members as well. So see, multiple times you would have read in different reports that there are several airlines, especially in the recent past, Akasa Airlines, where pilots and the crew members, they formed a union and they demanded better training, more training time and less flight hours. See, the most integral part for a pilot's career is the flying hours of the pilot, which means the number of hours the pilot was on the flight and flying. Now, the number of hours have been fixed, and there has been a maximum ceiling of the number of hours a pilot can fly in a particular month, in a particular week. But many of the times, these airlines, these commercial airlines, most of the time they exploit the pilots. Most of the times they want the pilots to reach to the maximum limit. And in this scenario, it leads to a lot of fatigue. Now, if the pilots complain of fatigue, the airline just replace the pilot or say that the pilot is not working enough. But pilot fatigue is one major issue which was highlighted in the 2010 Bangalore aircraft crash as well, which was targeted in different other airlines as well by different pilots. And one example which I just gave of Govt, a YouTuber, which again who again suggested that there was pilot fatigue, and even when there was pilot fatigue, they were made to sign papers where they had to fly to complete the number of hours which were stipulated for them.
You are suffering in your sickness. You are not recovering from fatigue. तो कंपनी ने उसको ऐसा बना दिया कि आप रिकवर कर रहे हैं. Sickness से आपको extra fatigue और add होती है.
Now, in this particular scenario, it becomes very difficult to keep the flight in control. And this is not just with the pilots, it is with the crew members as well. So crew members have to work over hours, extra hours, and they are not in proper concentration levels. There is fatigue which comes in, and it is a very important contributing factor to more than 20 to 30% of aviation accidents in the whole world. Now, these are the three major reasons due to which a crash can occur or an aircraft accident can occur. Now, fourth major reason can be due to adverse weather conditions. So in the case of cyclones, in the case of wind shear, thunderstorms or icing conditions, they can significantly impact the flight safety. And in this case, the radar system needs to be very, very accurate. Because for the pilot to know that this particular area is having tedious weather conditions, bad weather conditions, the flight won't even fly. But for that, what do you require? Better radar systems, better decision making by the pilots at that particular instant. Now, many times there have been instances where pilot already knew that the weather conditions are not going to be good, but still the flight took off. Now, this is a sheer case of negligence. Nothing other than negligence. So this is also one of the major causes. Extreme weather conditions like cyclone, like tropical tornadoes, sometimes like thunderstorms or ice storms. These are the cases in which aircraft safety would be compromised in a lot of conditions. So this is the fourth major reason where we can see aircraft accident taking place. And the fifth major reason can be due to ground handling errors. Now, there might be errors in improper cargo loading, there might be ground collisions, there might be GSC maintenance issues as well, which might pose a risk for proper aircraft safety and aircraft preparation. Now, International Air Traffic Association, they have noted that the ground damages incidents, they cost aviation industry around $10 billion annually. And by the year 2035, it would cost annually around $10 billion to the airline industry. But it is not just the financial cost, it is the human cost which needs to be counted, and the human cost is infinite. It can't be measured in numbers, which is why this ground and handling reasons are the fifth pillar, is the fifth reason, major cause due to which an aircraft accident might take place. Now, other than that, there are different technical reasons as well. There might be some problems with the cockpit, there might be some problems with the engines, there might be some mechanical issues, there might be some technical issues as well, which we can club in the sixth issue, which we can club in the sixth reason, which can be in the manufacturing of the aircraft. So 5 reasons are there, definitely. These 5 reasons are external. Sixth reason can be internal, where the aircraft in itself is improper, that there is technical problem with the aircraft, and even when there is a technical problem, still if the flight takes off, it would pose a threat to the lives of the people who are sitting in the flight. And this particular incident can be seen in the Boeing 737 MAX jet aircrafts. Now, in 2018-2019, there were 2 such instances. 737 MAX Boeing aircrafts, they met a very fatal accident. Again, killed hundreds of people, of course. And after that, all the Boeing 737 MAX jets, they were worldwide grounded because there was a technical error in the manufacturing of the aircraft. So actually, the autopilot feature was faulty in these aircrafts, and because of which there were 2 fatal incidents which took place in the world. See, if you look at all the reasons from 1 to 6 into perspective, all of these reasons can lead to an airplane crash, airplane tragedy, or an airplane accident. Now, after seeing all the causes, what we now need to discuss is the government measures. Now, what has India done in this regard to make civil aviation a better sector, a safer medium of transport in the world? And what has world done to ensure safety in civil aviation. If we talk about India, in India the regulator is DGCA, Director General of Civil Aviation. Now DGCA is an attached office under the Ministry of Civil Aviation in the country, and it's a regulatory body primarily for civil aviation, dealing with the safety issues primarily in civil aviation sector in the country. So it is responsible for the air traffic services, air transport control to, from and within India, and also for the enforcement of civil aviation regulations, air safety and airworthiness standards as well in the country. Now it coordinates all the regulatory functions with one international organization of the same working of the same manner. The name is International Civil Aviation Organization, that is ICAO. So like in India, the regulatory authority is DGCA. In the world, the regulatory authority is International Civil Aviation Authority, ICAO. Now, other than that, in the year 1997, DGCA came up with its oversight and audit rules, which were for conducting regular safety audits for the flights. Since its establishment as a regulatory authority, DGCA have been conducting these regulatory audits and regular safety audits for the aircrafts. Now, these audits, they focus on airlines also, they focus on airports and ground handling operations as well. Other than that, the DGCA has also published a National Aviation Safety Plan as well. So around 2024 to 2028, this National Aviation Safety Plan would work. And it is a strategy for improving aviation safety in our country. And it is aligned with ICAO guidelines and Global Aviation Safety Plan, that is GASP as well. So on the lines of the GASP, we are having Indian Civil Aviation Safety Plan as well, which is formulated by the DGCA. Now, other than that, we also have a bureau, that is Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AAIB, which was formed in the year 2011. It was formed to conduct independent and thorough investigations on civil aviation accidents in the country. And it focuses on analyzing the causes and recommending measures to prevent such similar instances to take place in the future. So these are some of the measures, and alongside this, our regulatory authority DGCA, it regularly coordinates with two international authorities. One is International Civil Aviation Authority, and this is where we will understand internationally also what work is being done to ensure safety in civil aviation. So one authority is International Civil Aviation Authority and one is International Air Transport Association. Now our DGCA, it coordinates with both of these organizations, and both of these organizations have made certain set of international standards, regulations and guidelines. DGCA ensures that Indian airlines follow those regulations, follow those guidelines, and regular inspection by DGCA is done from time to time in the form of regular safety audits. So this is what is being done in India. Alongside that, there are numerous other small measures as well to ensure each and every small thing is taken care of. Other than that, now you need to understand what is this IATA and ICAO. Now, if we talk about International Air Transport Association, it is an international trade association of the worldwide airline companies. So more than 330 airlines are represented by International Air Transport Association, IATA. And it's an international trade association, already told you. It was established in the year 1945 in Havana, Cuba, with around 57 founding members. And now more than 330 airlines are a part of it. And its mission is just simple: to represent, lead and serve the global airline industry. So it comprises over around 80% of the global air traffic, and the member includes world's largest passenger and cargo airlines. Its headquarters is in Montreal, Canada, and its goal is just one: to reduce the cost and increase the efficiency of airlines by simplifying the operations and boosting the passenger convenience in the global aviation industry. That is your IATA. Now there is one ICAO, International Civil Aviation Authority. Now, it was established as a UN agency. That is very important. And in the year 1944, it was established as an agency of UN. And the main aim was just simple: to establish standards and procedures for global air navigation. Because before that, international standards were very haywire, were very haphazard. And there was no single global authority for consolidation of the standards, rules and regulations for aircrafts and air travel in the world. And it's the purpose of this ICAO is to promote safe and orderly international air transport growth. Now there is one convention, that is Chicago Convention, which deals with this formation of ICAO as a UN agency, and it has been signed by more than 193 nations. So 193 nations are around a member of this particular ICAO, and its headquarters is again in Montreal, Canada. Now nationally we have understood what India has done. Internationally we have understood two organizations, IATA and ICAO. And with this, we are able to get a very clear picture that international safeguards are in place. But still, is it zero risk? The answer is no. The answer is that still there is a lot of risk which is there in this aircrafts industry. And all the 6 reasons which we discussed, we need to remedify all the 6 reasons. We need to correct on all these 6 different dimensions in order to ensure that air travel is still a very safer industry, is still a very safer means of transport, but it is made even more safer. And the lives which have just been lost, the lives are not lost in future, and the fatality incident, it reduces to 0, and it comes down to very, very negligible numbers in the near future. That is what our aim should be. See, the human cost of this Ahmedabad crash is innumerable. It can't be put in numbers, it can't be put in words also. Hundreds of people lost their lives, hundreds of families, they lost their loved ones. People who had aspiration of going back to their home, or people who had aspiration of going to some other nation for traveling or for tourism, whatever, all these aspirations crushed. And among the fallen were several young people, several children, several young students, professionals and whatnot. Leaders from around the world have expressed their sorrow, their distress and their worry for such a situation and for the families of the deceased. But yes, the reality still remains the same, that no one boards a plane expecting to die. Now in closing, yes, Ahmedabad crash is a worrisome situation. It shakes our confidence in the aircraft industry, in the airline as a mode of transport. But it also puts an opportunity for immediate rectification, and it renews urgency as well. That all the loopholes, all the laxity which is there in the system to promote safety protocols, that laxity needs to be made zero. And there should be zero relaxation, zero laxity, and 100% efficiency, 100% commitment. Artificial intelligence, Industry 4.0, different newer technologies needs to be used in this particular industry, and especially for the safety audits. And here government also needs to play a very proactive role, because it is the government who's controlling the regulator. So government needs to play a very authoritative role and a very integral role in ensuring that such type of instance never takes place in future, and we are making civil aviation a more safer industry and a medium of transport for the people as well. I hope you gained a new perspective from this session. All the very best and have a beautiful day. Thank you.